Hello everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. How are you guys today? I hope that you guys are in great condition and you guys are having a great weekend. So, before I start my speech, I would like to ask something. Have you guys ever had a bad day? Or maybe you guys have experienced bullying before? Or being disapproved by particular society, or you guys had a severe anxiety. Well, I'm really sorry to say this, but that's life. People were born with different backgrounds, and of course, something that not everyone has. Those two things can lead to personal problems. Actually, there are many things that can put us into a hole where we are trapped with a lot of problems. And maybe at the time, we only think that what should we do to escape from those problems? The only solution, one of the most inhumane acts to run away from a problem is to end our life. This action is becoming very common among nowadays societies, especially during this pandemic. On this other occasion, I would like to inform you and emphasize you guys that ending our life, or should I say suicide, will never be a solution to overcome a problem. There are several things that I'm going to deliver, which is first is going to be what will happen after we commit suicide. And the second one will be the Islamic perspective about suicide. And then the last one will be conclusion. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first one is, what is the impact of suicide? You guys know that suicide is an act that is not commendable and also very painful for the victim. This action will also have a huge impact on the surrounding environment, especially in the family and friends. In families, they will feel very lost and will continue to grieve because they have lost one of their beloved thanks to suicide. They will so sad and mourn their one beloved because of suicide, which is very bad for them and can damage their mental. In the circle of friends, we all can say that they will also feel the same thing like the family do. They lost one of a good figure of friends among them. Perhaps their friendship won't be the same as the prior time. Okay, so one of the cases that proves suicide affects families' feeling and put them in total grief is the tragedy of Brian Laundrie. Brian shot himself with a gun as the way of suicide and then let his corpse eaten by the surrounding animals. Based on my finding, the cause of his death was a bit disoriented, but still, it is presumably related to his fiance's, J.B. Petito, who was also found dead due to unknown strangulation in prior time before Brian Laundrie committed suicide. The family of Brian Laundrie and also his relatives who heard about this news are feeling sad and mourning about their beloved son, which is Brian Laundrie. And until now, they are still hoping that the local authority and the police officers will find the resolutions of this case. Strangely, the family knew that Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito were having a vacation and traveled around America from Long Island, New York, where the Gabby Petito's family lived. Okay, so now we are moving to the next and the last point, which is the Islamic perspective about suicide. Well, the act of committing suicide in Islam point of view is where will have a very fatal consequences for the victim in the hereafter. That prohibition is mentioned in one of the surah in Al-Quran, which is An-Nisa verse 29 until 30, which is written, "Do not kill yourself. Indeed, Allah is most merciful to you." Not only this verse, there is also an hadith that narrated by Bukhari and Muslim from At-Taha. It is written there that whoever jumps from a hill to kill himself, then later he will go to hell with his body thrown. It remains in hell forever. Sounds spooky and terrifying, right? So we all can deduce from the verse and hadith that committing suicide will end nothing but receive fatal consequences later on. So in terms of this topic, it reminds me of myself when I was young. Like I became a bully victim for 9 years old since I was in elementary school until junior high school. At the time, I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to end myself by drinking insecticide. Furthermore, at the time, I felt like I didn't want to do it for unknown reason, but instead, after almost committing such a silly action like that, I just immediately went to take a wudu and did my worship because at the time it was evening and it Ashar worship time. So during the last prostrate, or I can say sujud, I felt like my heart is trembling and somehow I started to cry. I felt like at the time I was prostrating in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I felt like He lifted some of my burdens out of my head. And after I finished my worship, I didn't feel any of burden left in my body. Like every burden was removed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. What a grateful and merciful of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So I can say that if you are near to your God, I'm sure believe that He will definitely help you. Or maybe He will make your problems not too hard for you to handle. Like in one of the Surah, Al-Baqarah, verse 286, which is written, Allah doesn't burden a person according to his ability. He will receive a reward for what he earned, and he will receive a punishment for what he did. So right now we are in the end of the speech, which is conclusion. So we all can agree that, to conclude everything, we all can agree that suicide will result in nothing. No matter how painful the suicide motives are, the result will not always as what we expect. Problems will always be with us, and it will happen either unpredictably or accidentally. But we don't have to surrender, like so easy to surrender because of those problems. When life gives you lemon, make lemonade. A famous quote that has been existed since a long time ago, but unfortunately only some people know about this. Let's imagine that lemon is our problem, and make lemonade is how we make those problems into a delightful and desirable things, like making the best out of a difficult situation. So hopefully everyone who have listened to my speech today will be able to think positively and will enjoy this terrific life thoroughly and peacefully, because we don't know if when we will get a tons of blisses in the after. So yeah, let's finish this speech by saying Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. So, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.